Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our lab, the Matrix lab. This is the video number 43. We have been discussing in the previous video the following. We have still working on the testimony report findings concerning our primary domain controller. We have seen a lot of issues concerning our primary domain controller. Some of them are critical, like time syncing issues with external NTP servers. We have seen that we didn't have any external NTP servers to sync our domain controller time with. We have done this the previous video, and a lot of things actually concerning, for example, the disk space on the C partition of our domain controller. We have seen that we have enough free disk space on our C partition on our domain controller, especially our primary domain controller. This will enhance the performance of the primary domain controller in general. Okay, so we have seen a lot of things concerning the testimony report, so we will continue discovering the points discovered with the testimony report concerning our primary domain controller. We have stopped the last time at get all network interfaces and firewall status. We can see here that I have deliberately disabled the firewall on my domain controllers, and I do this on all of my servers because the Windows firewall block a lot of services maybe or ports that are needed for the communication with the domain controller. You can fix these issues by creating rules on the firewall or Windows firewall and apply them using a group policy. But anyway, this will do a lot of work, and you need to do a lot of work and testing to make sure that your Windows firewall rules are working perfectly. What you can do, in my environment, I disable all of the Windows firewall on my servers, except for two servers, maybe the WSOS server and the antivirus server. These two servers should have the Windows firewall opened on it, and to have rules on them, very good rules to ease the communication between these two servers and the clients and the outside world. Okay, this is one. And the other servers, I have the Windows firewall disabled, but another thing should be considered. I block internet access to these servers. Okay, so this is one thing we need to focus on, because the Windows firewall, its main objective is to prevent the outside world to hack your inside servers, for example. So if we block internet access, then we are safe from the interaction with the outside world. But you need to have also one point in consideration. Your domain controller, we have seen in the previous video, are syncing our time with external NTP servers. So this is one thing. If you block internet, then the domain controller syncing with an external NTP server will not work. We can overcome this point by making our domain controller or PDC emulator to sync its time with our hardware firewall, maybe something like Sophos or FortiGate, and then our firewall sync its time with an external NTP server. So for the domain controller, the external NTP server is the firewall, and the firewall, for the firewall, the external NTP server is the server or pool.ntp.org that we have seen in the previous video. So this is one thing concerning the Windows firewall. Okay, so here we can see that he is giving us some warning concerning the Windows firewall, which is disabled on my network adapter, and he's also saying that the NetBIOS port should be disabled. We have discussed the NetBIOS port or the NetBIOS protocol in previous videos. We need to disable it, and we have seen how we can disable the NetBIOS. Very simple. You can go to the properties of a network adapter and disable the NetBIOS. Okay, so this is very simple. Again, the Windows firewall has three kinds of networks. So when the Windows firewall sees your network connection, he can define it in three ways: if it is a domain network, or a private network, or a public network. Okay, public network like Wi-Fi network or a free Wi-Fi network in a cafe, for example. Private network, it's your home network, DSL network, or domain, which is your work environment. So here he's saying that all of, or the firewall is disabled for the three types of network. Okay, so here we can see we have the Windows firewall is disabled, the NetBIOS port is not disabled. Okay, so we can fix this normally and we can open the firewall, but make sure to have all of the necessary ports opened and bypassed by the firewall. Okay, this is should be uh, very known ports. If you see my DC diag video, uh, and I was discussing the slides of Mr. Lo van der Poel, we can see that he have stated a lot of ports that should be opened on the domain controller. DNS ports, the Active Directory ports, the SMB ports, all of these are listed, so you can take these ports and make Windows Firewall rules to bypass these ports, and maybe you can apply them to all of your servers using a group policy. Okay, so let's see, or this is the first test, and actually I will pass it because I deliberately, as I said before, disabled the Windows Firewall on my domain controller. And one of the things that happened to me when the Windows Firewall was opened, that when I tried to join a PC to the domain, it was blocked. Okay, so it was not, or the computer did not join the domain because the Windows firewall was opened on the domain controller. When I disable it, the process completed successfully. Okay, so this is one thing we need to, this is by default, by the way. I didn't play with the Windows firewall setting. Okay, so this is one thing you need to make sure it is set up correctly. We can see here that he is getting my network adapter, which is the teamed network adapter, DC team. As we can see here, this is the index of the network, or this is the number, a special number for my network adapter. We can see here that the firewall profile is public. This is not correct. We need to change it to a domain. This is not correct. Okay, by the way, this is not a correct uh, uh, network profile. Okay, firewall is false, so it is disabled. This is the IP address, this is the gateway, this is the subnet mask, this is local network, no traffic. We can see here a lot of data concerning my network adapter, the DNS, preferred DNS and alternative DNS. Okay, we can see here the suffix, or the DNS suffix. I think this is the DNS full name, full DNS registered. Okay, we have registered this domain controller in the DNS. DHCP enabled false, so we don't have any DHCP enabled on our primary domain controller, which is in line with the best practice not to have DHCP enabled on our domain controller. We can see DHCP, okay, NetBIOS over TCP, it is the default one. We need to disable it completely, and we can see here default inbound. I don't know these things. Okay, I think he's talking about the rules of the firewall. Okay, all of these are the rules, so I think it is disabled, so we don't see any rules configured. So he's taking, I think he is listing all of the different rules on the firewalls. Strange, I don't know if all of this is done with one command. So this command gets all of this data, so it's a very good command actually to get all of this data in one line. As we can see here, the log file, so he's checking, or he's stating the log file of the firewall, which is very good, so we can revise the events from this log. Log allowed, maximum log size, a lot of very useful info, by the way. Log blocked, no. Log ignored, no. Computer name. So very good data, and I think this is a good thing actually. We can take this data and use it in a special way, or in a lot of ways. Okay, the next test is to check if you have made Windows update from X days ago. I think X days ago, here he's saying, for example here, that you should, or the time he is checking if you have updated after this date, then this is accepted. If less than this date, then this is not accepted. For example, here we have 5/5/2024. The last time that I have done update is 02/05 or 5 of February. Okay, so this is 5th of May, I think. 05, it's May. Yes. So here I have made from February, we have almost 3 months we didn't do any update. Okay, so this is not correct. Here you should make regular update to your domain control. This is security issue you should always focus on. Okay, not to let your servers not up to date for some amount of time. I think maybe this can be maybe 30 days at maximum. Okay, I think this, not to leave it more than 1 month. Your servers not updated more than 1 month. Okay, so here we can see this is, here he checked that the latest or the latest update I have installed was on 5.2, and this is the KB or the update number, and installed by Net Authority system. So this was installed by the system user on my domain controller. Okay, so very simple test. And we need to make sure also, this is a good one to state or to make sure that your domain controller is updating or getting updates from your WSOS or from the external internet if you are applying this method. Okay, the next thing here is to check some Windows roles and features. They should be installed on your domain controller. So here is getting the features or the different features on your domain controller. So there's some features that should be installed on the domain controller. If one of these features are not installed, then you will face some problems. For example, you need to have DNS installed, which is done when you promote the server to be a domain controller. You need to have the file storage and file server services installed for your or sharing the sysvol folders and the netlogin folder and accessing them and controlling them. Okay, Windows PowerShell, you should have this feature installed because some of the services depend on the PowerShell to operate. For example, the WinRM, okay, or the Windows Instrument Service Remote, or Windows Instrument Management or Remote or something. This is a feature or this is a service that are used to remotely connect to servers and workstations, and this is done using, or the remote session are done using the PowerShell. Okay, so you can remotely access a server through the PowerShell. Okay, so this or the WinRM depends on this PowerShell 5 to complete the remote process. Okay, or to initialize the remote process. Okay, so these are features that should be installed on your domain controller. He checking all of these services are installed. If one of them is not installed, he will alert you. So these are all installed by default. Okay, so these are all installed by default on a domain controller. For example, you have Active Directory domain services. Of course, you should have this installed. So all of these services are installed. So this is a basic and very logical test to do to make sure to have these services installed. Okay, this is one thing. Okay, as we can see here, this is the test, or this is the data. He's giving you all of the roles and the state of each one of them. For example, we have Active Directory. Okay, this is certificate. We don't have the certificate, so he's getting all of the services, but he's giving only the available ones. So we can see here, for example, we have about 38. These are all of the services on the domain controller, the installed and the not installed ones. Okay, so you can see from here what is the installed services. Very simple. We can see here some things. For example, the name of the service, the service name and the display name, the description, if it is installed or not, an installation status, feature, it's a role or a feature, a path, couple of things, maybe server components, depend on if it depends upon another service. Anyway, so this is very logical test to do. Okay, now we can go to the next one, which is he will check if you have PowerShell 2 enabled on your primary domain controller. This is a very, very critical module you should disable, because Windows PowerShell 2 doesn't have the logging feature enabled on it. So this can be used by hackers to work as a ghost. You cannot see what he is doing exactly, so he can do his hacking and it will not be logged. But this is because the logging feature is not enabled on PowerShell 2. He's saying here Windows PowerShell 5 added advanced logging features which can provide additional detail when malware has been run on a system. Disabling Windows PowerShell 2 meditates against a downgrade attack that evades the Windows PowerShell 5 script blocking feature. So he is saying that Windows PowerShell 2 doesn't have logging features. As for PowerShell 5, it has logging features. So for example, if a malware has infected the system and he was doing this infection through the PowerShell, it will be logged, or a hacker. So as we can see here, these are the two PowerShell commands you can do to disable the Windows PowerShell 2. Okay, so this also is a very, very normal test to do, and actually all of these tests I will show you all how this will be done practically, but I'm just discussing the test with you, and then we can go after discussing them and see how they are applied practically. Okay, the next test is to resolve internal DNS queries. Here we are testing, or there are a couple of tests to test our DNS server, the queries internally and externally. We are checking if our DNS server is resolving our PC names or our server names from the name to the IP address. This will make will make sure that our DNS is healthy and our records are available. Okay, this is one thing we need to check. Resolve DNS internal queries. And the next thing is to resolve external queries to see if we can resolve websites and servers outside our network. This is basically focusing on the DNS forwards that we have done on our domain controller, okay, or we have set up on our domain controller. By the way, here is the resolve internal queries. If we see the data with this test, we can see here name status is true, so we have our DNS result, IP comparison, IP address. So I think these are all related to the DNS information. The name of the DNS server, it is status is true. I don't know what is IP comparison. Anyway, so this is one thing. As for resolve external queries, we can see here is the data. He is resolving an external DNS server IP address. Okay, he is query this. I think this is Cloudflare DNS. He is querying it, or the IP address of this server. This is the computer name. We can see here this is the IP address. This is the website. A website, he is resolving its IP address. Okay, this is done using DNS forwards, which is the Google DNS servers that we have set, and our firewall or our gateway IP address. So we can see very, very simple. Here is the data, very, very simple and straightforward. Okay, the next thing also, this is a test related also to the DNS to make sure all of your DNS are replicating. So we know before we have an info that when we are replicating the Active Directory database, also the DNS records is also replicated with the replication of the Active Directory database. This will make all of the DNS records identical, or all of your DNS servers. This will make the resolution of PCs and servers to be working perfectly on all of your networks, so all of the records are replicated and they are the same. If there is some missing records, then we will have some problems concerning the login to the domain if these DNS servers are queried, or if these DNS servers are contacted, because we were not able to log into the domain unless we have a DNS record. Okay, so this will be a problem if the DNS records are not the same on all of your forest or all of your network. Okay, so here we can see that he said that I have failed this test but actually the command didn't successfully implemented. So I used another command, and I have something saying that my DNS records are identical. If you need to check them manually, you can go to your DNS server, your primary DNS server and secondary DNS server, and check the records and see if they are identical or not. Or initialize a database or Active Directory database replication. This will initialize a DNS replication as well, just to make sure that everything is working properly. So we will stop at this point and see how all of the things that I have discussed will be implemented practically. So if you go there from the beginning, we have stopped at this point. Let's see how this will be installed, or this will be done practically. And one thing maybe I didn't see here, loop back IP address should be listed in DNS servers on the network card. So he is here stating that on the primary domain controller, the preferred DNS should be the IP address, okay, of the primary domain controller. Okay, so we all know that any domain controller is at the same time is a DNS server. So here is checking your network adapter setting to see the preferred DNS server. It is if it is the same as the IP address of the domain controller. Okay, so this is one thing. Okay, you need to make sure that you loop back IP address, or the IP address of the server is set, or it should be in the DNS setting. I think here this should be the preferred DNS. As for the additional domain controller, this should be the alternative DNS. Okay, so he's checking that you have the loopback IP address. Actually, the loopback IP address, it is 127.0.0.1. I have removed this and put the IP address of the domain controller, or the primary domain controller. Here is saying that this should be put on the network adapter. I have done this actually, so he's just stating you should have your DNS setting set up correctly on your domain controller. So this is one thing we should focus. So we can take this command and run it on our primary domain controller. Actually, it will not work, so I will try to ask the AI tools to provide me with a script to get the same data. Okay, so this will be useful if you need to get some important data from concerning your network setting, network connection setting on a server, maybe not a domain controller, any server in general. So let's see if we can ask the AI tools to provide us with the script to do that. And the net BIOS, we should disable it, and we have seen how we can do this, and I will show you again how we can do this. Here I'm asking the AI tool, which is ChatGPT 4o. I need a PowerShell script to check the Windows firewall status, okay, for the different network adapters. If we have some network adapters, okay, for the different profiles, domain, public, and private networks. So here we are checking the firewall status for the different network profiles, domain and public and private, and test if NetBIOS, okay, over TCP IP is enabled. So we will see very simple script to do that. So he will give us a very simple script. Here we can go, we can take this and apply it on our primary domain controller. We can use the PowerShell ISE to enable this, or to see that. So you can see this is very easy now. You can ask an AI tool to provide you with a script. In the old days, we need to check the internet for ready-made scripts to do that. So now you can create a script very easily. The AI tool can create the script for you. So now we can go and open the PowerShell ISE, and then we can run the script and see the result that will come. Okay, here we can see very simple. Okay, here is saying that all of the profiles are false, so then all of these or the Windows firewall is disabled for this uh, network profiles. And you can see here that this is my network adapter, and using the HSP setting here says that the NetBIOS is enabled. If we go further like that, let me show you all. If we go here, or let me open the network. If we go further, so we will go to the control panel, and then let me show you all how this was enabled. If you open the network or the control panel, then network and sharing center, here you go. Now we can open it and see this is my network adapter, or the teamed network adapter. Now we can go to the properties of TCP/IP, not the duplexer, this one, properties, and we can see here, if we open advanced, okay, he is saying that if the NetBIOS are set using the HSP, which is not the thing here, this is a static IP address. Okay, so it's saying, or this IP setting are set statically. If static IP address is used, or the HSP does not provide NetBIOS setting, enable NetBIOS over TCP/IP. So it's saying if this server have a static IP address, then you should enable NetBIOS over TCP/IP. The recent security recommendation is to disable NetBIOS, because this is an old legacy protocol. So to disable NetBIOS, we simply can disable NetBIOS over TCP/IP. Okay, so how we can disable NetBIOS over TCP/IP, and it was used by a WINS service, which is an old service. Its function is similar to the DNS. Okay, so now it is not working anymore. This was used with legacy Windows operating systems. Okay, and the NetBIOS also was used with legacy Windows operating systems. So now we can disable it very easily, but make sure to test this setting before applying it. Okay, I think I don't need to tweak this. We can go further. Okay, we can go further, deep further. Okay, okay, now we can go further like that. So this is the script. Now we can go to the Windows Update section. So now we can take or run this command. This will list the hotfixes, or the last installed update. Okay, we just need to put the domain controller value, and then it will get us the hotfix, or the KB, or the number of the fix, and the installation installed on, and the description, and the installed by. So you can see here very simple command to get the latest installed update on your operating system. Okay, and now we can go to see. Also, this is a command you can put and see the features installed on your domain controller. Very simple command. We just need to change the domain controller value. So you can see here that, for example, uh, PowerShell engine 2 is removed, okay, but when I try to run a test, it's saying it is enabled. It's sure it is removed, but as a feature it is removed, but it is installed on my operating system, okay. You can see that we run this command, I think, from, yes, the PowerShell. So we have everything now working properly. Now we can go to the Windows feature. We need to disable Windows PowerShell 2. Simply you can go and run the commands at the report. Here I asked the AI tools to give me a command to do that, but actually simply I can go and run the two commands. Very simple, but I got it in the hard way. So we just try to make sure that we have. I think we can run it from the PowerShell ISE just to make sure it is working properly. Open a new script and then put it, and then we need to put the domain controller DCSM0125. Simply, guys, you don't need to run this report or run this script, because here is stating, if we go to the PowerShell, okay, we would need to go to the PowerShell section. Very simple, you can run these two commands, okay. We don't need to do a lot of scripting, okay. He is already giving us the command to do so, okay. So very simple thing, okay. Then you tell him next to make sure to give you the next step, okay. So we tell him next. There is no next, it's only one step, okay. So let's go here. I need to have some minutes. We have 32 minutes, okay. We can go and continue. So here we see this is another way to get the feature through scripting. So this is some resources to do from the Department of Defense of the United States. This is the command, but actually the name of the feature is not correct. So when I try to do so, it's saying that there is no something called PowerShell version v2 root. Okay, it's different. Okay, the spelling is not correct. So this is not correct. Okay, we need to change the name. Okay, saying it doesn't have any feature named PowerShell v2 root. Okay, it's PowerShell root or PowerShell v2. We have two features, PowerShell v2 and PowerShell root. Okay, so we can go further. Okay, now I'm asking the AI tool to give me the correct syntax, because now if we tell it, it will get me the correct one. Okay, okay, so this is the correct one. Okay, we can see here it's only version 2. We need to copy that and execute it. And let me show you something. If we go to the report itself, okay, we can see here that it's only version 2 or root. Okay, this is the two things. Okay, you need to make sure these two are working, run, so on. So in cases you may require to disable Windows PowerShell root, run so. Okay, so this is the two things you need to focus on. Okay, now we can go and continue. So it will take a little bit of time. So we can return back to our report. So I think this is not correct. We need to run the two command lines. So here we need to run the two things or the two commands, this one and this one. Okay, make sure to run both. Okay, so here is the PowerShell 2 section. Now we can see it is already removed. We can run the same script to make sure it is already disabled. Now it is disabled. So we have passed this point. Now we can go to the next test to make sure that, or we go to the next step to see what we have. Or here we can see this is the data when we run this script. Okay, it is possible it is enabled. Okay, so now we can continue with the next step, which is resolve internal DNS queries. Okay, you can copy the script, just to change the domain controller value and put your domain controller name, and you can get the data you need. So this is a test to check your internal DNS query status. Okay, so now we can put that and then change the domain controller. So here I'm changing uh, all of the domain controllers values, okay, in all of the script. Okay, But here there is a problem. We need to put something here, to put an $, okay? Just wait for a moment. You can see we need to put an $, here. And I think we need to, okay, that's it. Then we can run the command again. Now we can see this is the value, status true, DNS query, and we have resolved the name of our, so here we can see this is the IP address of our primary domain controllers. We have resolved the name to the IP address. Status is true, the query, I think, or the DNS status IP comparison, comparing the name with the IP address, I think, and then he's getting the IP address of the server. So this means your internal DNS query is working because he has resolved the name of our primary domain controller to the IP address. Okay, very good report, and very customizable report. You can run every test individually, and you can use this data or use this custom commands to test different aspects of your Active Directory. Now we can see the resolve external DNS queries. Now we can take this command and resolve this website IP address. Now we can do that and just change the domain controller value. You can put any website you need. So this is a customizable report or customizable script. Now we can see here, this is the data and the resolving of the website to the IP address, okay? So now we can continue. Now we can go to name or name servers for primary DNS zone. We need to test to see if our DNS zones are identical. Okay, this I think we will do it in the upcoming video, or I think this video was ended. Let's see how much time we have. I think we have 42 minutes. Okay, we can go and continue working with the other videos. Let me show you here the other video. If you go 1, 2, let me see, I think it's 1, 3, 2. Let's wait for a moment. I think this is no, this is I think 1, 3, 2. Let's hope it is. Let me show you. I think, okay, I think we stopped here at, let's see which one we have stopped at. Not disk free, I think. No, this is not the correct one. I think we can go further. This is not, I think 140 maybe. This is the one. Let's hope it is. Yes, I think it is. Let's wait and see. So let's see the report. I think, yes, here we are stating, or here we are talking about this test in specific. Okay, so now we can continue working. Now we need to make sure that our DNS zones, okay, or servers are replicating correctly. So now I have my 2 domain controllers open because these are checking the 2 DNS servers, okay? So I put my domain, no, not the server, okay, this is not correct. Here is the server and this is the domain. This is not correct, okay? And then we can put the domain controller. So here the test failed because it said cannot bind to argument reference object. I think it failed to check the other DNS server. Okay. Anyway, so we will ask AI tool to provide us with this alternative script to test the DNS zones. Okay. You say that cannot bind the same test, okay, or the same error. So we'll try to ask AI tools to provide us with an alternative script to check the DNS if they are replicated or not. Okay. I think maybe we can ask Claude in a different way, a different question. If we can ask it not, I need a PowerShell command to check the replication of my DNS servers in my domain. Let's see that. Okay, let me again see. I think here okay, I need a script or a PowerShell script to check the replication of my DNS servers in my domain to make sure all records are synced on all DNS servers. Optional, give me count of DNS records and compare on all DNS servers. Let's see if this script can be achieved. Let's see here the result, or let's see what is the answer. He is saying that retrieves all DNS servers in your domain, get all primary DNS zones. This is the correct one. For each zone, it checks the record count on all DNS servers. Compare the record counts with the if the zone is synced across all servers. Display summary table with sync status and record count for each zone compared. Okay, I need to have something here. So this is the script. Let me ask it a question to simulate the output for this script. I have two DNS servers, primary DNS named DCSM0125 and secondary DNS named DCSM0225. Okay, let's see how this will go. Okay, I think this is a good script. Okay, if we go further and see the simulated output, here he will get the zone. Okay, and in sync, yes or no, record count. Okay, and detailed comparison from non-synced zones. If there is no, there is, for example, some zones are not synced. So very good script, by the way, but I need to go and check something here. If saying that, if we go and see this, where it is, this is the name server for primary DNS zone. I need to make sure that this test is talking about something here. He's saying name servers for primary DNS source. Name server, I think he's referring to the DNS executed name servers. Name servers for primary domain zone. DNS name servers for primary domain are identical. Okay. Okay, I think he's saying name servers here. What is a name server? A name server, I think he's referring to DNS. Okay, let me again, another question to be asked, because I think I am a little bit confused. What this statement means? Let's see how this will be the answer. Okay, let me see what he's talking about. The statement name servers for primary refers to an authoritative DNS server responsible for hosting and managing DNS records for a specific domain. Okay, name servers for primary DNS zone. Let's break this down. Name servers are specialized servers in the domain name system DNS infrastructure. They are responsible for answering queries about domain names, translating them. Okay, so he's talking about name servers. Okay, for the primary domain zone. Okay, let's see. So this is the servers responsible for the querying of the DNS. Okay, primary domain zone typically refers to the domain or root domain. For example, okay, so he's saying here is referring to the names of the DNS servers for our domain. Okay, so name servers for the primary domain zone. Okay, so he's saying he will check how much DNS servers we have for our domain. Okay, so let's see. Here we are talking about name servers, one we're referring to specific DNS servers that are authoritative for the main domain. These servers hold the original authoritative copies of DNS records that are in the domain. Okay, so is here this test, he's checking for your DNS servers, how much servers, DNS servers you have in your domain, and if they are identical. So this is very good, a good thing actually, or a good reference. So here I have discovered, or I completely understand. So here we have this script. I think it is very good. We can take it and see, it will give us, I think it is a very good one to make sure our DNS servers are in sync. Okay, so we can see here this is a very good one. Okay, so now we can use this script. Okay, so here what I have done a different, or I asked a different AI tool and provide me with a different script. Okay, but actually here you can see that you can have a lot of ways to see or to get the result you need from different AI tools. Okay, so here I already, let me pause this real quickly. So here if we go, let me go a little bit further here. So here this is the script I asked. If we go further, this is for ChatGPT for O. Okay, I asked it to provide the same, or to provide me with the script to make sure my DNS servers are in sync. Here I'm providing the domain name, okay, and then when I press enter, here he will give us the data, your name servers for matrix. So here is giving our DNS servers their names, and the records are identical. Okay, so we can see here that this succeeded as well, but in a different way and a different script. Okay, so first let me see how much time we have. I think we just reach 1 hour and then we can stop, because actually the upcoming topic will be a large one. So let's see first. So here we can see we are ensured that our DNS servers are identical. Then here I think I should stop at this one. Okay, this is a large topic, so we will stop at this one. Here is checking your SMB protocols. Checking there is some setting concerning the SMB protocol, because this protocol is used for sharing and printing, okay, or especially for sharing files. There should be some special configuration for this protocol to secure it. Okay, so I think let me just get further, because I think we need to stop at this section. So okay, I think let me go there. Here I'm just telling it to, or what I'm doing now, if we go there and continue, here I'm telling it to check this data and explain it for me. So this is a script that will get the SMB protocol setting. Okay, and here I'm trying to ask the AI tools to explain these different settings for me, just to comprehend or to know what I'm doing exactly. So we can see here that there is a lot of data that is not I don't understand. Asynchronous credits, auto disconnect, timeout, cache, open limit, a lot of things actually, but all of these are related to the SMB protocol. And by the way, all of these are set correctly. I don't know why he gave me red, because all of these are set and they are correct. So I will stop at this section and I will discuss it later in the upcoming video. Hope this video informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.